Hello. Hello. So let's drive. We are heading up to near Aberdeen, which is the northeast of Scotland. I'm on the east coast of Scotland, and let me flip you around because we're about to run out of light anyway. Here we go. We are driving into the northern hemisphere. So I'm going to answer some of your questions on this driving video. I'm also just going to start by chatting and being a bit human first of all, because some of the questions are very metaphysical, as you can imagine. So to explain this journey, because this is the first of these driving videos, and so there'll be a few of them. It's a 4-hour drive, well, somewhere between 3:15 and 4 hours each way. So that's a lot of videos. And I also learned to reduce the quality to 1080p, which is still, is that HD, I think? And let's overtake this lorry. I've also adjusted this is the Osmo Creator, DJI Osmo Creator 3. Creator 3? Pocket 3. That's what it's called, Pocket 3. I'll get it eventually. And this camera is currently in low light mode, which I've never really used before. And as you can see, it's actually pretty cool. You can see quite a lot, which is really helpful, right? As for the background noise, whilst I would love to do my best to filter out the background noise, attempts at doing so, the majority of you, like the vast majority of you, have said that AI filtering isn't really ready yet for this filtering, and it puts you off. So no filtering, just lots of background noise from my noisy moto. The good news is that one of the reasons, one of the many reasons I'm driving up to Aberdeen is just addressing what that motorbike was doing. One of the reasons I'm going there is because I'm going to get something called air suspension fitted to the back of this moto. And basically, instead of relying on the springs, they're called leaf springs at the back, which are kind of oval shaped. And they have like these kind of rubber stoppers. I can't remember their actual names, but when you're kind of bouncing over rougher terrain, those things get removed, and in their place go these inflatable,
continue on A1 for 20 miles.
For lack of a better word, it's almost like a rubber bag type thing that just or kind of air spring that inflates and deflates. So the long story cut short is that's going to really help reduce the noise in the back, or at very least it'll give me a smoother drive, even if it doesn't improve the videos. So you guys can decide on the drive home if you think that it sounds better or not. And it's funny, I was wondering why this motorbike is slow. One is it's a learner, and I think it's also it's a motorbike that's, I don't know, what to go up to, something like 50 or 75 cc, and can only do, they're only allowed to do, is it 60 miles an hour? I don't know, he's going quite slow. Anyway, because I just wandered off and I'm so used to seeing motorbikes and they're like super fast, like it goes so fast. Right, let me open my can of driving juice, which if you're interested is a healthy, well, as healthy as it gets, caffeinated mate with no sugar. And it really does help me drive. I don't have that many, and I never drink them outside of driving. Okay. Oh, some lovely stars out already. Why don't we just get started with your questions? I feel like I've done my humaning enough. Oh, maybe just a quick recap of this week, since it's a long video. The first is, thank you for, it was lovely to be on holiday last week. We had a fabulous time. And it's funny, there's a loud rattle above me. I don't really know what it is. I found it's it was the stand for my other camera. I think that was it. Anyway, yeah, we had a lovely holiday away down in Amble for a few days. Then we came back, and our daughter was visiting, so we had fun with her, nature walks and meals out. It was lovely to catch up. She's headed back to university. We've also just been making some small changes to the house, so just fixes and maintenance, so we had some of that done. And it was good to be home. And it was interesting, right, because over a week ago, my guide said, John, you have to cut your holiday short by a few days, or not the calendar time of the time off work. Excuse me, it was more the time away, and I had to be back. And it's funny, until this moment, I've never really realized why I had to be back for. So we came back on the Wednesday, and it's because on the Thursday I began getting a migraine. Like, oh great, lucky me, I get to finish my holiday early and come back for a migraine. I'm glad they didn't tell me that. I'm not sure I would have wanted to come back. But the reason is, I now understand the reason, which is there are intense ascension waves going on right now. And you know, many of us are struggling with the symptoms. And as I said in the live stream just now, we did a live stream, Viviani and I, for a couple of hours, doing your quantum, psychic, Akashic readings and clearings, taking your requests. I explained that ascension waves really originate from us, right? So there are requests to Source to help us ascend, and this is answered by Source sharing these energetic, very high vibration energy waves, travel from the center of the universe, the central sun of the universe, through the largest points, or let's just say that they are most pronounced and most felt through the largest conduits of source energy at a physical level, which is stars, like the central sun at the center of the Milky Way, and then also our own sun. And these waves, I mean, they do a lot of different things, right? They have a lot of different effects. They're not really measured by our modern science. The closest we have is the Schumann resonance, but it's not, by their very nature, right? We struggle to measure frequencies beyond the upper third dimension, and frequency ranges up into fourth and fifth dimension, in part because we don't believe they exist, right? So why build a, you know, if you didn't believe in roads, why would you build a car? Or maybe a better analogy is if railroads didn't exist, then you wouldn't build a train. So there's this effect of us experiencing an unseen force, and we're used to unseen forces, kind of like the wind, love, fear. Emotions are difficult to see other than in ourselves and others. So there's these waves enter our bodies predominantly through the heart, and our hearts are often, if you've had especially if you've had an open heart awakening, as I would call it, where your heart steps out of fear and you step more into love and unity and joy. That as you go through that awakening experience, your heart's really quite able to receive these beautiful energies. However, they're also received through the crown chakra. They affect all parts of our bodies. We do tend to experience it most significantly many of us, through ringing in the ears, pressures on our heads. Sometimes it feels like it's a pressure on the top of your head. Sometimes I get like, my migraines are often very pronounced around the center of my forehead, and the pineal gland, the third eye, and the ringing in the ears is also really common. But there's lots of sinus issues. Some people feel it in their wombs, in their backs, tingling sensations, just a long list, right? And it's because what these ascension waves are doing is, in our call, right, who else do you think is going to help us physically ascend? Sources, because we're asking to physically ascend. Ooh, lots of flashing lights. Looks like a convoy of something. Here comes a trucking convoy traveling through the night. Well, it's 7:10 p.m. I think there are two cranes. So yeah, you gotta love ascension waves, and they, for me, at very least till Monday, Tuesday, they just continue to consist of. Oh, by the way, this is the perfect segue into this next question, right? Or should I say the first question? The cool thing is that our bodies, our DNA needs to upgrade to allow us to support higher frequencies, even higher levels of joy and happiness. I know, you might already be living the dream. Chances are, if you're watching this, you probably, like me, still have at least some human struggles, or many human struggles. Welcome to being human. So facing our fears, facing our shadows, being conscious of what we consume, including videos online, having strong boundaries, clear intentions, regular meditation practice, conscious consumptions of food, water, drink, relationships, letting go of our past, forgiveness, decluttering our homes, staying in your joy as often as you can each day. These are all the things, the key things that really help you ascend. By the way, I don't know if you can see, but I'm following this. I'm on the road behind this wee motorbike, and I feel he's a wee bit fragile. Like if I overtake him, he's going to fall off. So, but it's okay. I'm going about like only just a couple miles under my desired speed, so it's absolutely fine. Gulping sound incoming. Okay. And the ascension waves, what they do is they activate our DNA. So there's codes. You can describe that as instructions for our DNA transmitted through these ascension waves that come into our bodies, into our DNA structure, and help upgrade it. As you can imagine, the process isn't the easiest, right? And the closest example I see, if you have a laptop or a computer, for example, even our phones do this, is they go through software updates. And what do they do when they're updating? Well, they often turn off, right? They'll say, hey, I've got some upgrades pending, and I need to install them. And so it goes ahead and goes into like a shutdown and reboot, and then an install. Now, unfortunately for us, or fortunately for us, the human body is designed to kind of keep everything going, or as much as possible, while like we don't die, or we don't like forget everything as when we go through the update and upgrade and wake up. So it's great when this happens during sleep time. Other than the fact that it likely means you're going to have less time in REM sleep, rapid eye movement, like deep sleep. But it's still helpful because it's better than during the day. It can also happen during the day. It does, right? And so this is why when I moaned about it to my guides, I said, John, you've just got to make sure you take time off. And interestingly, they said, John, you've signed up for an accelerated ascension. And that's the first I've heard of this, right? Because compared, I'd never compare anyone, right? Let's just say that there are other people born with their hearts awakened. There are people that go through it much earlier in life. There are people that have been around. I remember interviewing someone, a friend, and she'd been waiting around since I think like 2011 or 2007. It's like, where are all you guys? And believe you me, back then, back in 2017, there was very little in Western culture about awakenings. Literally the closest I knew about it was the form of spirit guides, like in the Simpsons movie, and where Homer has a spirit guide. I kind of like got the sense of, when in Star Wars, when Obi-Wan dies and then comes back as like a kind of hologram, it's like, oh, he's kind of like a ghost, and yet look, he's still like guiding and he's with them and he's celebrating. You can kind of see him too. That was fascinating. And these were the closest experiences I had of what a spirit guide may be. So I getting back to the speed of my personal awakening, I didn't think it was particularly fast, but compared to some who have been like this their whole lives, and have been, many people have been using and practicing their psychic abilities since they were born and never stopped. I stopped from age 6 to 40. That's 34 years. The majority of my life being shut down, or shutting myself down in fear, and then the last 8 years being awakening. Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure there's more that will come to mind about the ascension waves, their purpose, how they flow. Oh yeah, there is also an effect of the moon, Luna, and the sun. So the sun is also increasing. Sol, who's the soul, S-O-U-L, the soul of Sol, S-O-L, as in solar. Solaris. Sol is the soul of the sun, and has decided to now go on a journey and catch up with the Earth, with Mother Gaia. And so the Sol was holding back on their ascension so that they didn't basically put us on a kind of clear path, Earth on a clear path to the 3rd, 4th and 5th dimensional split, or specifically the 3rd and 5th dimension split of Earth. because Soul was waiting for us to be ready. Clearly now Soul thinks we are ready, and it's a little bit scary, right? I'm not going to pretend that I don't feel a little bit of fear, and I guess some of it is I can feel where my personal journey is going, which is that, you know, I'm being, just like my mission, asked to help, you know, empower, nurture, teach, support thousands and one day millions of people on their awakening journeys, and it just feels like a big responsibility, right? And yet I know that it's all, if anything, the demand of all you guys wanting help is coming, and coming freely, and that all I need to do is things like, you know, I've just had 950 people completing the completing the 14-day Spirit Guide Ascension, 14-day Spirit Guide Meditation Challenge, which is fantastic. And the 5D Ascension classes are now a training course on YouTube, and, you know, we're getting more and more people turning up to the live streams that create those classes, the replays, just to teach people like how to do all this stuff. And you know what's funny is, if I was to pick one thing that I love the most this week, and believe you me, I have had some really beautiful client sessions. Like, you guys this week have just been phenomenal. One of the things I enjoyed the most was running the 5D Ascension class, and it's a free class. So we had, you know, Archangel Michael swearing as I got the whole class to send him love, and he found it a little bit overwhelming. He did agree to it, he just found it overwhelming in the moment, and decided to deflect some. So that was funny. And then also, many of you in the class, so it's 55 in the live stream, and some are caught up in the replay as well, that you experienced this really beautiful moment where you were speaking light language to your spirit guides, and many of you had your spirit guides crying. Like, many were kind of melting, like, to the floor in tears. They were just so happy with joy for you. I bet you were thinking I was going to say the opposite. It was so bad, they were crying. No, it was so wonderful, so well done. You might be able to spot in video, there's a wee plane passing over. Definitely a plane. So yeah, I just really love that, and everyone said it was such a fun session, and it's so funny having. If you'd asked me previously, could 55 people enjoy, like, feel like a class, right? Because there's a lot of people at the same time. I don't know about you guys, right? I do struggle a bit in larger groups, socially, and yet it just felt so lovely. We've all felt very safe and held, and these lovely, happy, joyful experiences, surprisingly and delightful experiences, were just wonderful, and the energy of you all just beautiful. So yeah, that's very much me teaching you how to build your own well, your own ascension well, and drink your own ascension water from it. So I can imagine in the future it would be amazing even just to focus on that work. Like, if that was the only thing I ever did, I'd still be happy. I still really love the one-to-one sessions, and I'll definitely be doing those until I retire. Will I ever retire? I don't know. Okay, we're about to to turn off here. So I'm about to answer this question. It was on the 13th of October from, it's quite hard to read as the phone is shaking around with the bumps on the road. So I'm just going to focus on driving rather than reading. It's a short question, which is good. So it's from Samantha P. Thank you, GPS. Yeah, I know which way to go. I have to get north. Oh, we're stopping, that's good. So it says from Samantha P 9383, will we as a collective experience the solar flash and 3 days of darkness? If so, when is it set to occur? Ooh, so will we experience the solar flash and 3 days of darkness? And just to be clear, I'm not channeling during this answering this question. But the good news is you will get like a broader answer than just the one I'd get from asking my guides. What I would say is it's a breakdown after Sheriff Hall. No, it's okay, we'll be fine. What I will say is that I do have a safe space already and a connection to my spirit guides. So if my spirit guide Maya, for example, who I work with the most, wants to add to any of what I'm answering, please do, Maya. So the first part is, will we as a collective experience a solar flash? Now it's interesting because these are in the same sentence, right? The solar flash and 3 days of darkness. Now, if you do or don't know me, right, either way, I don't really watch other psychics. I don't really know what they've been saying. I've been aware of the concept of the solar flash since about 2018, and to be honest, prior to that, about 2012. And I know there's many people who have been prepping, if you like, and many people there are many prophecies, I believe. I know, I just feel that that's true, that there's prophecies that also describe some sort of solar event. This is not one flash. It is not like one burst, like that just lasts for a few seconds and that's it. This is a series of pulses, and it's really interesting because I'm clairaudiently hearing like an audible representation of that, which is like a woo, woo, woo. But it's much slower than that, and it feels like that will take hours, if not days, for each one to go. So the solar flash, the term, for me is more on a kind of geological time scale that it's a flash, in which case a few years is a flash in geological terms. In geology, like in Scotland, we talk about where our sandstone comes from when Scotland was down in the equator, and that was like 360 million years ago, right? So that's the sort of time frames, and there's rocks in Scotland that go back over 2 billion years. So it's everything is relative. Thank you. Yes, we're going around the Edinburgh bypass. That's what you're looking at. I was going to say, I keep passing ambulances. It's because we just passed the main hospital. So we have this pulsing effect, not just one flash. And I feel that's helpful because what is it about us humans, right, that when we're fearful, we project the worst case scenario onto everything, right? And this feeling of panic. And I'm not just targeting you, Samantha. If anything, I'm talking about myself. It looks like doing some slowing down, maybe. Is this where the accent is? Not yet. Yeah, so there's this effect of, instead of it like being a one-off burst and suddenly all our electrical circuits being burnt out and now we're all screwed, right? It's much slower than that. And it feels like it comes in waves, the solar activity. And I was asking my guide Maya about, as we were chatting, I was just asking, what are you showing me? Like there seemed to be some purpose or connection. There's some police passing by. Oh, we have something bad going on here. Well, at least it's not pulling me over. Oh, shoot. Just letting these police do their thing. Don't know if that was a thanks or not. It was just a beep from the police. I think it was a thanks. All right, so that police car has nothing to do with the other police cars that all turned up at the same time. Maybe there's another accident too. Wow. Let's just keep our eyes on the road for a moment while I focus on safety first. Well, all seems clear. Yeah, so I was asking about this pulsing effect, and there seems to be some. It's quite funny because Maya's saying to me just now, you know, John, the Carrington event. I was like, oh my god, the Carrington event. That was, I can't remember the exact time when that was, but it was when telegraph poles were like, they burnt out because they were so charged by the sun's activity. I was like, wow, okay. And it's, what it feels like is the sun is moving up in frequency between bands. So it feels like the sun moving up from third into fourth and fourth into fifth, and it's those shifts that create these interdimensional. So is that the right word? Yeah, inter, because intra would be within, right? They're interdimensional, so they cross dimensions. So as the sun shifts up from third into fourth, it's almost like a beach ball or soccer ball under the water, and it like pops out of each layer. So it's popping out of the density of third dimension up into fourth, and then from fourth up into fifth. So it's the part in between. A bit like that moment when you try and, you must have done this when you were a kid, at least, I'm sure I still do it now, is get like a soccer ball in a swimming pool or something, sit on it, right, and then it never works, and so in those moments, you know, when you're about to fall on your side in the water, and it pops up, and it pulses up to the surface, And that's what happens, is that it's that moment in between where the sun affects both the third and fourth. So the energy coming from the sun is creating these what we are terming as the solar flash, but they really result in enhanced electromagnetic activity from the sun. And it's not all at once, like it does come and go for a while. And that's great because it gives us a chance as humans to respond. The 3 days of darkness feels like the first time this happens, we're not fully like prepared for it, and so there's disruption, right? And when I've spoken of this before, because I will come on to the when, but I'm talking about the 3 days of darkness, is that it feels like a period of between a few days and about 14 days. And it's going to depend on where you live in the world, right? Not everyone is going to experience it the same. If you don't use electricity, then you in the moment directly won't be affected, but maybe if if you're relying on imports or supplies that come through systems, transports, etc., that delivery systems and shops that need power, then of course you'll have an effect. You will see colors and lights in the sky. Seeing aurora borealis, the northern lights, during the day, absolutely. And I'm being shown that we'll also have the opportunity, like we do now at any time, is just to be reasonably prepared. So, when I look at my cupboards at home, we usually have about, probably quite a lot, like 50 or 60 tins. Can't promise they're all in date, right? But 50 or 60 tins of, beans, soup, some tin vegetables, like a range of tins. So they're really handy to have, right? Also having a way of keeping warm, because this does feel like, so I'm just asking, I did an 8-year prediction video just coming up in a week ago. So just asking about that. How does it link in with some of the other events? Because my feeling is previously it was December that this would happen. It seems more that it's more likely into between January and March. January and March next year. And of course all this depends on Sol in particular, so the soul of the sun. Because Sol has free will, just like you and I, and Sol can decide to delay this, accelerate it, whatever Sol decides, in partnership with the Earth and Luna, the moon. And there's also this effect that the sun can only take so much buffer so much ascension waves at once without it overloading the sun, or the sun having to eject the energy to ground the energy back into the galactic sun, and from the galactic sun into the universal sun. Okay, quite a lot of this is new to me. So yeah, making reasonable provisions. Some of the things that these are just decisions I've been making over recent years, and they are loosely aligned with this event happening, because my guides my spirit guide Maya kept telling me about this event, and that she wanted me to keep broadcasting, which I love. It's going to be hard to upload stuff to an internet if the internet's not working, But you may well find that you get some intermittent access through your mobile network, and maybe just your faster landline or fiber optic system is is down for longer. So yeah, these are aspects of decisions I've made. So what I made was to invest in solar panels, and they are grounded, right? That's important. They're grounded into the earth, so they won't directly overload. And the system I have also has a battery, and it's not like the world's most powerful battery. I think it would last us, around 6 kilowatts? 6 kilowatt hours. And it's not going to do much for your heating. It'll maybe give you a little bit of heat from one heater, but it run the house, the rest of all the computers, everything we need for a day for sure, with some conscious consideration for the consumption. And then we also, I've often been guided to spend, and I totally geek out doing it, right? Spend time on my motorhome doing upgrades so that it runs off grid very smoothly. So, it has one solar panel at the moment. I'll definitely be upgrading those as we come into the summer. It has large battery capacity. I've been updating it so it'll run heating on diesel, which is really good, because right now if there was a power cut including gas, we would get very cold very fast in Scotland. We're going to go up the Forth Road Bridge, which is cool. That'd be really cool at night. Hope you enjoy that. So yeah, that'll be fun to, at least we have a diesel heater in the motorhome, so we could, as a family of, currently at home, my wife and I, and Patch, my daughter, is away at university 8 months of the year. The fascinating thing is that it just feels aligned, right? And it's funny because to me it still feels abundant, right? I don't feel panicky about, oh no, what if I don't get enough solar panels or have enough of a battery? Rather than feeling fearful, I feel like these are all good investments. I enjoy it as a hobby, geeking out about these things, including the house, solar panels, etc., and being conscious about what I consume. So it's more about optimization, some aspects of sustainability, and maybe some of this is eco-friendly, although I'm sure if you ask Mother Gaia, she'd probably rather I didn't buy a bunch of solar panels, have them manufactured and installed, etc. So yeah, I feel like the general message is be reasonably prepared. Food, water's really interesting. One tip I've seen is that within the first few hours of any kind of outage, one tip is fill your bathtub with water, so that although to be honest it's less of a challenge in Scotland, if you don't have any water for 3 days you're going to be in trouble. So fill your bath while the water pumps still run on their generators, etc., or at least try it. Have the ability to have drinking water, some kind of food, an idea about what you do with shelter. As a family we would just go into the warmest room, one of the smallest, warmest rooms, and probably all sleep together, sharing a room with tons of blankets and stuff. Or we might even leave, we might bug out as it's called, right? We might even get in our motorhome if it still ran, and we would drive somewhere. So these are just things to think about. If you can't tell, I'm relatively relaxed about it, and it's not because I think I'm like the world's best prepper and that I've somehow thought of everything. It's not that at all. It's more that I'm calmer. I'm okay with the idea that there could be disruption, even outages for a few weeks, a few days, couple of weeks. I also feel what Maya's describing to me is that we're going to Dundee, Perth, okay. Is that we're going to have the opportunity between these waves of solar flash to react, right? So there'll be advice like, unplug all of your electrical systems so that they're not overloaded when in the next coming wave. Make sure that you only use appliances that have a ground, have an earth connection. Check your home's earth connection. Here's how to do it. There'll be things like making sure you ground as well. So you're a battery, right? So you can absorb the sun's electromagnetic energy just as you can absorb energy from electromagnetic energy from devices. Pretty sure I go left here. Is that right? Apparently, yeah. There's something big moving with two orange flashing lights in it. Oh, this road's so confusing. It goes. I'm on the right road, and it's kind of like it twists off in a circle and goes round itself and comes back.
At junction 1A, use the left 2 lanes to take the M90 exit to Dundee, Perth.
M90 exit Dundee, Perth. Oh, I'm excited for going north. It's cool. Hey, you're overtaking me on the inside, buddy.
Use the left 2 lanes to exit at junction 1A.
So I know things you have to slow really fast here and spin around 300 or 280 degrees or something. Yeah, here we go. 30 miles an hour. Whee! It's good fun. Kind of in the wrong lane, but I'm not. I'm in the fast lane, and it shouldn't be. I need to get over to the left, but these lines are saying, don't do it. Some funny noises in the back. Fitness to drive, test your eyesight. What if you can't read it? I can't read your sign. Guess it means you're not fit to drive. So, what we're talking about? Yeah, there'll be some advice, opportunities for us to make changes. I'm hearing about infrastructure changes too, and it does feel that there is ET support and assistance, and this feels like, some people are worried about riots, and some people are just waiting for an excuse to riot, right? So they're going to have to go through that themselves, and then others. It feels like, on the whole, there's this feeling that it's not the end of the world, right? That people, how in the question, Samantha, you've said 3 days of darkness. So for you personally, I suspect when that first day happens, you'll be like, oh, this is the 3 days of darkness. And that's okay, right? Because you'll be thinking, well, that's day 1 done, that's day 2 done, day 3 done. The reality is, I don't think we'll be quite so, that it will be longer, and there might be days on it'll be more intermittent. I also feel that we will have a sense of how long it's going to last, because our scientists will be able to measure it. My guide Maya is saying the Schumann resonance actually will be a really strong indicator. So it's something they'll be paying attention to. And what's interesting is she's also saying, because of that, many more people will pay attention to the Schumann resonance, because many people, even though it's like entirely scientifically measurable and it's graphed daily, and often does align with a lot of the ascension waves. And just to be clear, it doesn't measure all ascension waves, especially those in 4th and 5th dimension, right? It's only really bringing in frequencies from the top of the 3rd dimension at best. But we start to gain a better understanding of how it's like a way of measuring the effect of the sun's energy on the living things on Earth. So that's really cool. Thank you, Maya, for sharing that. I must admit, I didn't expect to have quite so much of a dialogue with Maya while I'm driving. It's just that she's just chatting on and off, and that's, to be honest, that's how my life is now. Oh yeah, this road's funny. We've like expanded out to multiple lanes. I'm sure it goes out to 4 lanes. And you're like, which lane am I meant to be in? Well, I'm in the wrong lane. That's a good start. So let's move over in a moment. There we go. M90. So that's good that, you know, I don't know if anyone's really asked this question specifically, but if you're to ask the question, are we as a human race being held through our ascension by extraterrestrials? The short answer is yes. We have babysitters, right, that are looking after us. Now they totally respect our free will and put our free will first, and they only come in to help when we ask for help, and they only intervene when things are, you know, when we're at a very high risk or are suffering en masse. And you know, this includes, you know, the disclosure, for example, disclosing contact with aliens, or I prefer to call them extraterrestrials. Contact is, that's something they've intervened on because it's gone on for too many decades. So here we go, we're on the 4th Road Bridge, the new of 3 bridges that go back well over 100 years. Not this one, this is the new one. It's quite funny, you must just see this big spike on the camera in the middle. So yeah, there's this effect of the ETs intervening to say, look, you're not telling the truth. Like, holding back the truth is a form of lying. And it got to this tipping point where our galactic brothers and sisters, our ET friends, are saying, look, governments, if you don't tell the people, we will. And that moment's past, right? That's why we're all seeing, not all of us, right, but many of us who are looking to the skies are seeing much more activity. And they're not satellites, right? Because they interact with us individually, and we're now on the journey of building one-to-one relationships. You know, you see me doing it with my sky watching videos. There's a playlist on my YouTube homepage. I've caught some lovely footage as well over the last month. I tend to release those videos because they're about a minute each every month or so, and just compile them into one because it saves a lot of editing. And it's not just ships and shooting stars and orbs. It's many more things. Because there's magic in them there skies, which is really cool. Dundee Park. It's really weird. Why is everyone slowing down? Oh, I think they're frustrated by one guy, a road hog. Let's just give all these guys who seem a little bit angry. Oh my god. He just undertook the road hog. Road hog. Giving the angry people space while they drive all over the place. You guys can knock yourself out, but please be safe. Okay, thank you, ET brothers and sisters. Anything else on that topic? Because we're just over an hour now. And if I record these videos too long over an hour, on the camera they split into 2 files, and then I have to do a ton of editing. Like, it can literally take me like 30-40 minutes. Doesn't do it on my new camera, but I'm using my older camera just now because it's better for driving. But thank you, Samantha, for your question. And yeah, my advice is, the other cool thing is, remember this, right? Listen to your heart whenever someone's sharing prediction information. There is a fear aspect to any of these predictions, including, even the ones you might find me a bit more level-headed and calmer and more joyful in general than many other people making predictions. And many of you will come to will find me through your fear, if you like. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not all bad, right? That this ascension journey is hard. We have to face a lot of fears, and we have to go through a lot of challenges, and a lot of changes on Earth, a lot of purging, out with the old, in with the new. Or should I say, out with the low vibe and in with the high vibe, out with the fear and in with the joy, out with the fear and in with the love. That's a hard journey for all of us, and it's affected my life in many ways. Leaving my corporate job, downsizing my house, selling my car, selling our holiday lets, and then starting a business that's been more successful than I ever could have imagined. The latter never could have happened while I was stuck in my old ways and patterns, and with so many material things that didn't serve my highest good. All that stuff that took 23 carloads and 7 van loads to declutter and donate to charity and recycle. So yeah, just know that your personal vibration dictates your experience of reality, your personal experience of reality. And if you want a prediction, for example, that's more specific to you, you can get a kind of teaser of that. Come along to one of our live streams on Mondays and Thursdays with Viviani and I, or just book a session. And when we book a full session and do an hour together, we answer all the specific questions just for you. The whole session in this format is totally bespoke, it's personalized just for you. There's no tarot cards or generic answers. It's all specifics for you and your life. And you can ask. There's Amazon. Hi, Amazon. Goodbye, Amazon. You can ask any questions as we go, share any experiences. And so you get to go into a lot more detail. And I feel that the latter is much more really how reality works. And so, for example, for the humans on Earth that don't use any electricity, and I'm sure there's some, right? That wouldn't even notice, right? That if, and for some of us, our electrical systems will cope, right? And it won't be dark at night. And for some of us, like perhaps with my neighbors, some of my neighbors have solar panels, and perhaps with some that don't, I'll be able to give them some power, help them charge their phones, or I have a couple of little power banks that maybe a family could, live off the power overnight. We'll help each other, right? Imagine that, people helping each other. That'd be awesome. And that reminds me, I just gave away one of those power banks to someone. So yeah, there's always an opportunity. Do just like anything in life, know your neighbors, know who they are, say hello to them, make sure they know you by face, if not by name. Because you never know who you're going to need in a crisis. And just whether it's to go and ask for water, and if anyone has water or power to charge a phone or device, or some extra duvets or blankets, whatever it is, and be a good neighbor to each other. All right, end of first driving video, and thank you, Samantha, for your question. All right, take care, everyone. Sending love, love, love.